Hello, welcome to Flower Juice. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to revisit an arrangement that we made 4 years ago, and that is a planted bottle design. So this is the actual planted bottle that we did as a video 4 years ago, and I still have it. Now, I've never taken it to bits, I've never changed anything. All I've ever really done with this is water it, keep an eye on it, and take some cuttings from it. So as you can see, we've still got some of the aluminium plants, some ivy, some of this tradescantia, all still basically growing and looking quite happy. And it probably really needs taken to bits and redone. But like these bits, I'll take off and I'll pot them up and they'll go again. So this will tidy this right up just by removing this. And really on reflection, this was a material that was just too big and too heavy for this. Same with the ivy, but I think it's done really, really well. So today we're going to take our inspiration from this design. Now, if you want to visit the video for this, then click here and go to the link. But today we're going to do similar but different. So what kind of made me think about this was I actually discovered these beautiful pickle jars in our garage. And I thought, these are really nice. I really love the funky old labels. And these are genuine pickle jars that were just in the garage from the previous owner. And I've cleaned them up. Didn't want to take the labels off because I thought they were quite interesting. And then I thought, you know, this would look great with some little plants in it. So that's what we're going to do. We're also going to use them in two different ways. So this one will be up and this one will lie flat. So all I've done is I've taken a couple of canes, used a little bit of the paper covered wire that you can get from Oasis, just to make like a little base there that will stop that moving around. So these are going to be open bottle gardens. They're not enclosed, and in some ways I think that's better for the plants. It does mean that you have to keep an eye on them for watering. You can't overwater them because obviously there's nowhere for the water to go, and you can't let them go bone dry neither. But having this protected environment really makes a big difference for some of the plants. Like the little aluminium plant, I cannot grow it in the house without it being inside the bottle. Outside of that, it just doesn't have the humidity and it's not happy. So the first thing we need to do is we need some compost. Now I've just got in this bucket here just some regular compost, and what we're going to do is we're going to add some sand, but also some perlite. Now perlite is basically a volcanic like puffed rock essentially, and this will help aerate the soil and stop things getting too clogged. So the problem with compost, just straight as it is, it will start to compact, it will start to become too heavy, and basically it'll hold too much water and your plants are less likely to survive. So I know this seems like a little bit of a hassle, but it really makes a difference if you can prepare your soil. Now, if you're wanting to make something that you're wanting to last for a long time, I would suggest maybe you add a little bit of worm castings or leaf humus. That will really give it a little bit of strength as well. So, if we look at that, you can see now this is much more open, much lighter soil than what we had before. So that is quite important for you to do that. So the first arrangement we want to do is we want to choose our container that's going to be upright. Now I do want to put probably a little layer of perlite just on the bottom. You could use gravel, and in a way you could make a feature of the layers. So you could do gravel, some different coloured sand and some compost, and create some little layers, which would be quite interesting. Now the one thing that I don't have that I do need is a sprayer, so give me a second. So at this point you want your compost to be moist, but not overly moist. You want it to be workable. So essentially, you want to be able to move things around. So what I've got is I've got a few little plants here. I've got this lovely little orchid. We've got a little rapsalis, which I love. Now I've got a couple of these that are longer, but this is like a little miniature version. I think this is going to do really well in the bottle garden. A little fern, and this is a little calathea. I'm not sure if he'll get too big, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. So first thing we're going to do is pop in the little orchid. Now this is where I really regret being a person with big hands, because it's not easy. Now you could make some little, no, actually I don't want him in there. You can make some little tools for doing this. We'll maybe take a little bit of this one. Now I'm not going to worry too much about some little bits as well, because these will take root and grow, which will be quite interesting. Now the only thing with the little orchid is, I think the little orchid is not going to last ultimately long time. So if you're wanting to go for something that really is long lasting, I would be more inclined to forget about the flowering plant and just go for your green plants would be better. But this is the beauty of these pickle jars, is you've got a bit of a wide neck, so you can actually get in there, which is brilliant. Now, I'm going to have a little look here for some pieces of this aluminium plant to pop in as well, because this will just root, no problem at all. I think if I had a little stick that would help. I think this is a little project you could do where you take your time and you really enjoy just putting it together. So the other thing I want to do is add a little bit of moss. So I've got a little bit of flat moss. Pop down there. And actually one of the best mosses to use is bun moss, which you'll get from a florist. So bun moss will be very happy in your little terrarium. Straight away, I think the moss really gives it a good finish. And that is essentially our little garden. So I'm going to give him a little bit of water. So just spraying in there and down the sides is going to clean off any soil. I don't want to overwater this. Essentially, I'll keep an eye on it over the next day or two and we can see how it's doing for water. But probably just put a little bit in the base. And that's enough. Now, at this point, you could add any little decorative items that you want to put in. So, for example, this is what I had in this one. I had a meerkat. I think this is a Pokemon. And for some reason, some little ghost as well. So we can always add in any little guy that you like. Yeah, so we've got our little guy in there. So this is maybe a project you could do with kids as well, but you could do it with dinosaurs, you could do it with anything. So let's have a look at our other one. Now, as I say, I made a little base for this. So as I say, this was just 2 pieces of cane and we've added our wire, paper covered wire, just to sort that out. So I think with this, it's going to be a good idea to work from the back to the front. And where you want to have a little bit more depth, I would go in the middle. I have a feeling this fern might be too big, but we'll give him a go. He might be a miniature kind of version as well. So again, a little bit of moss. And for the front here, I want to try a little bit of this plant. Now this is a plant that, again, I think will do better in a terrarium. So we're going to just cut a few pieces and lie him in. So in a way, it's quite a good way of doing things, having plants in bottles, because essentially what you're doing is you're putting them in a protected environment, but then it means that you're maybe more able to keep them, but also it then gives you some plants that you can use for propagation. So if you need a cutting of something, you can get it. Now you might be thinking, oh, this is going to be a bit difficult to water. I think it'll be okay. There's nothing here that really needs a great depth of soil. So we'll just see how it does. And I think as well we can also have another little bit of the aluminium plant. So what I'm kind of thinking of is I might just make myself a little collection of plants in glass and basically put them as a collection together on a table. I think would look really, really good. Now, for all these are open-ended, we could close it off with some cling film or some glass just to hold in that moisture. But again, we'll just keep an eye on it and see. Right, so again, we'll give it a water. And that water just hitting the sides, it's going to take any dirt down to the soil level and just tidy up your display. Now I didn't put any perlite in the bottom of this one. This one's obviously a lot shallower. So there's not really the depth in here compared to the other bottle. So we'll not worry about that, but we would just keep an eye on it from the point of view of watering. This one will be very easy to put a lid on. This one not so easy, but it is possible I could maybe find a lid that would work, that would be quite good. Now we put a little animal in that one, so we'll put a little animal in this one as well. I think that's quite cute. And I've got a few little pieces of the rapsilis as well, so they can just go in. I actually don't mind, or I quite like the idea that maybe some of the plants in this one will start to spill out a little bit. I think would look really, really good. So essentially we've got our little one and our other one. Now I am thinking that you don't necessarily see the label on this, but if this was on a table where you can see it from all round, then that really works fine, but just be careful which way you're wanting everything to face, I think is also important. So there we go, we've got something in a pickle, which is basically plants in a pickle jar. Two different pickle jars, or two pickle jars the same size, but used in a slightly different way, and creating some interesting focal point for a table. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I'm going to keep an eye on these and we'll see how they get on, and we might do a little video at a later date just to revisit them and see how they're getting on. But that's your little idea for today, is a little indoor garden that really don't take a lot to look after, but are fun to make and fun to look at as well. So thank you for watching. If you've not already subscribed, we've got new videos every week. We'd love you to join us for our next design. So click here to subscribe, tap the bell to keep up to date with all our new content, and we hope to see you soon. Take care till then. Bye.